Welcome to Protect Your Children Now with your host, Christopher Gelson. Protect Your Children Now is a weekly live show from 9 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. God willing, no storms, no technology problems, and all that. And of course, without you listening and watching, we'd have nothing to put the show on for. So thank you very much for being here. We got a jam-packed, informational, educational show tonight for you, and something that is going to blow your mind. Blew my mind when I found out about it, and I'm sure that it will blow yours as well. Little rough throat, little thing going around, but we're going to push through it. So hopefully there's going to be no loss of voice or anything crazy. If it does, I'll just start talking with my hands or something. I don't know, but we'll get through it together. So protect your children now. So protectyourchildren.org is the website. Protectyourchildren.org. Protectfrompredators.org. Jam-packed website. Tons of information, educational resources. Everything is free. Everything you need to keep your kids safe from online predators and community predators. So check out protectyourchildren.org. So coming up tonight, what's behind door number one? What was the game show? Remember the game show? It was like, I'll take what's behind door number one. And they had 3 doors to choose from. And maybe behind door number one was a great prize. And number 2 and 3, maybe not so good. Well, tonight, we already know that door number 2 is feeding filth, leads to the filth that's being fed to your children through social media. Oh, and we're going to tell you something in a minute about that. Door number 3 is the music and movies and Hollywood. They're pushing all the filth to your kids. Remember, desensitize, demoralize, hypersexualize, and then attack. That's the plan. They got to desensitize your kids, show them enough sex in enough different ways and enough different places so they get used to seeing it. So it's not even shocking anymore. So it doesn't seem so bad anymore. Paint it in a good light. Right? Demoralize them. Get them to break down their morals. Whatever they've been taught was wrong, convince them it's okay. Right? It's not so bad. Parents just don't understand, right? They're not who I am, the teenagers say. Yep, demoralize. And then hypersexualize them. Continue to pound their minds with filth, with smut, and all sorts of garbage so that they are hypersexualized right at the time when their hormones are kicking in. And then while they're hypersexualized and demoralized and desensitized, the predators can attack. And that's the plan. So behind door number 1 tonight is a company that is pushing filth to your children. And it would never occurred to me, because maybe the parents' anger and our anger has been directed in the wrong place. Possibly. So we're going to get into that in a little bit tonight. Let's check the chat, make sure we're good here. Marie T, hey all, she says. Hey Marie, glad you're here. Everything's sounding okay, looking okay. Hopefully we're streaming good right now. Hopefully everything's good. So last week, very powerful show last week. Did very well on Rumble. Rumble, I think last time I looked at 162 plays on the podcast, which is the highest we've ever had, which we're thankful for, because that child coming on the show to talk about how for 6 months he was able to talk to predators and set up times to meet with them and to be exploited by them, and the parents never knew, should be an eye-opener for all parents. 6 months. How? Because parents were not thinking that could happen to their child. They weren't checking their phones, had unlimited access to the internet, unlimited access to all these apps out there, which are just stocked with predators. We shared something earlier this week just from Instagram. We've mentioned it before. Protect Your Children has an Instagram account. You can follow us. Just look for Protect Your Children, Inc. And the stuff that comes up in our feed, right? I mean, how many videos come up with kids? And it's clear that they're being exploited, or they don't realize the danger that they're putting themselves in by doing what they're doing. And so we will comment on their videos. Hey, be careful of sexual predators. They're all over social media. They're going to compliment you. They're going to like your content, and they're going to want to direct message you. Don't do it. Don't talk to these strangers. Be careful. And undoubtedly, and we shared one this past week, all you see is grown men talk about how the young boy is beautiful and how the boy is sexy and they want them to do different poses. I mean, it's like, where's the parents? Do they have any idea what is happening, what their kids are doing on social media? So we're trying to warn as many of these kids as possible. And of course, in that, there are tons of other people that see the comment and they become aware as well. So speaking of social media, hey, Tracy, glad you're here. Omegle. Remember Omegle? Yeah, Omegle. We did a video about them. We've been warning about Omegle for probably a couple of years now. And, you know, on their website, it was Omegle, talk to strangers, ! You know, we'll match you right up in a chat with somebody who lives right near you. And of course, TikTok and its filth promoted Omegle to the kids. The kids would easily get on Omegle because, of course, they're not going to check identity or age verification or do anything. So we had all these young kids on Omegle talking to complete strangers that live right near them and being exploited. And we were warning parents about Omegle for the longest time. Well, what do you know? Omegle's gone. It got shut down. Apparently, the owner pulled the plug. You know why he pulled the plug? Because an 11-year-old girl went on Omegle one night, was able to get on, and the site matched her with a 45-year-old man in a chat who lived right near her, and he went on to sexually exploit her, okay, and some other things that we can't mention thanks to the YouTube algorithm. And she ended up, as she got older, she ended up suing Omegle for $22 million and won. And part of the lawsuit was that Omegle would be shut down. Now, the owner, the founder of Omegle, came out basically and said, we're shutting down for psychological and business reasons. Psychological. Interesting that he put that in there. And in a statement, he told the news that there was clearly a subset of horrendously disgusting people that were on his website doing heinous acts. So he knew there were predators all over that app targeting children, and he continued to leave it up and running. Didn't implement anything to keep the kids safe, and he's liable. He's got the blood of those kids on his hands. Why isn't he charged with more crimes? Who knows? But Omegle is shut down, so it's a small victory. Small victory. That's only one out of hundreds of these websites and social media apps that target kids, and the kids are on them. It's very dangerous. Parents need to pay attention to what their kids are doing, period. It's unbelievable. But Omegle is gone. Good riddance, right? Instagram, unbelievable. Now, here's the problem. You get free speech, right? So, technically speaking, if some perverted whacknut on Instagram says that a reel or a video, on Instagram of a boy or a girl, a young girl or boy, and we're talking, I've seen them on there 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old making videos. No parents around anywhere. What the heck? So if a pervert on there says, hey, you're looking sexy, apparently that doesn't violate any of the guidelines and the policies of Instagram. So that's okay to say. Now, to us, we're going, that's a warning sign, right? That's clearly like somebody who's trying to exploit and target a child. Instagram apparently doesn't give a crap. That's the bottom line. Bottom line. They don't give a crap. The fact that we can jump on Instagram at any time and just scroll through the reels and have to comment on 10 out of 12 that we see, warning kids, because there's adults from all around the world commenting, clearly trying to elicit a response from these children, trying to get them to talk to them. We got to warn all these kids. Clearly, Instagram knows they've got a predator problem. What are they doing about it? Nothing. What's TikTok doing about their predator problem? Nothing. What's Snapchat doing? Nothing. So yeah, social media, is behind door number 2. And of course, the music and the movies and everything else pushing, hypersexualizing the children behind door number 3. And door number 1, we're going to look at in a little bit. It's going to shock you. I guess it's not surprising, but now maybe you'll be shocked. Maybe you'll be shocked. All right, let's jump into our Hero Kid segment for tonight. Another awesome Hero Kid. You know, gotta love these Hero Kids, man. I never get tired. When I go out to look for these videos, there's just tons. There's just tons of them, you know. And it's good to see that at least locally, these teenagers and these kids are being recognized for the heroic acts that they're doing, the selfless acts that they are doing. So let's check out this week's Hero Kids segment. I'll be back in just about 2 minutes. Hopefully it's going to work. Apparently it's not working. Let's see what's going on here. Hold on a minute. There we go.
Hero. He jumped right into a Long Island bay last night. You see it in the video to rescue a woman who accidentally drove into the water. Police say the woman hit the gas instead of the brake.
And that teenager's quick thinking might have saved her life. News 4's Greg Sergel is live in Patchogue. And Greg, you spoke with that teen today. What an incredible rescue.
Rana and Natalie, Anthony Jonger, that 17-year-old, is a shy, humble kid who's now getting ready to graduate from high school. He didn't want the spotlight today, but his actions on this dock last night made that spotlight inescapable.
We're glad that he stepped in and saved the day.
Anthony Jonger was still processing it all today. How his visit to this Patchogue dock last night turned into a moment he never expected.
I was just listening to music. Then I just hear a huge splash.
That huge splash was an SUV driving into Patchogue Bay. This surveillance video shows bystanders running to see what happened, but only the 17-year-old Jonger actually jumped in to help the young woman inside the vehicle.
She was trying to open the door first. She couldn't get the door open and started banging on the window.
Jonger pulled the 18-year-old driver from that car and they swam to the dock. The car sank in this spot marked by a garbage can just moments later.
If he wasn't there, who knows where we'd be standing right now.
Charlie Samolinski's daughter was the SUV driver. Police say the accident happened after the 18-year-old hit the SUV's gas pedal rather than its brake.
Good, man. How are you?
This afternoon, Dad met his daughter's savior, even showed the video of the rescue, all just to say thanks.
Thank God somebody was here and wasn't staring into their phone and did what needed to be done.
The teen Samolinski is now calling a hero, will soon be joining the U.S. Marines. And today it was a veteran Marine standing in awe of this young recruit.
He's a fantastic individual, and he has the qualities and traits of a leader, a hero.
Now, Anthony Jonger told me he dove in the water last night because being trapped in a vehicle is one of his great fears in life. The young woman he saved was too shaken up and maybe a bit too embarrassed to talk about it today. In fact, right after the incident happened, Jonger says she was more concerned about her vehicle, saying, "My mom is going to kill me." Today, her dad said that SUV can be replaced. His daughter can't. We're live in Patchogue. Greg Sergel, News 4 New York.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. How you like that? And his biggest fear is being trapped in a vehicle underwater. So, of course, opportunity comes in, presents itself, and he jumps in the water to rescue this girl who would have been trapped in the vehicle. You can't, hey, listen, you can say you don't believe in God, but you know what? Right place at the right time, no doubt. So, what a hero. And he's going into the Marines, which is very fitting. I'm sure he will do a fantastic job defending our nation, as many of the Marines do. And that's our hero segment for tonight. Let's see what Tracy says here. Yep, that's what I said when I was a teen and I got into an accident and hit a mailbox. Well done, young man. Hit a mailbox? That's not the way to do it. Come on, man. You know, but we're glad you're okay with that. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's our Hero Kids segment for tonight. In case you missed it, segment will not happen tonight because we had 2 posts all week in the Facebook group, which is a lot lower than normal. There's generally 10 or 12, but maybe people are busy this week, but we only had 2 posts. One of them couldn't really post it, couldn't approve it, but the other one was posted by Tracy Gwynn, who is a longtime protector, and we're actually going to bring you that segment here in just a few minutes and show you what she shared. Very powerful, and Tracy, we thank you for that. All right. One other quick note. The Facebook group, for some reason, the live show has not been streaming on the Facebook group. It's like the intro is there, like the details of what the show is about, but the Facebook group, for some reason, is not letting us live stream anymore. Double check the connections. Everything's fine. So don't know what's happening with that, but we're going to continue to work on that. But we're trying to migrate more over to Rumble. If you guys aren't familiar with Rumble, it's a great site. It's a YouTube alternative, free speech, a lot of great voices on Rumble. And Rumble, actually, it's very small, but they do pay revenue, ad revenue to the creators that live stream and post videos on there. It's a very small amount. I think you have to get like 1,000 views to get $5 or something, but whatever. But the reality is that it's more free speech than YouTube. And when YouTube censored us a couple of weeks back for talking about LGBT related stuff, not bashing, of course, but just related grooming and things, they're not good. They'll probably censor it for saying that word now. But in any case, if you don't have a Rumble account, please sign up for one. It's free. A lot of great content. And Rumble, we live stream on there every Wednesday. So definitely check out Rumble, as well as Twitter, which Twitter gets us, a couple of views. Facebook's not doing as well at all. So we may just migrate over to Rumble at some point in the near future and stream exclusively to Rumble. But we'll keep you updated on that. So, all right, let me share this segment with you. We've talked about sextortion before. And let me tell you, Tracy shared this. I think it was Tracy. Lord, forgive me, Tracy, if it wasn't you. But, man, I watched this and my heart just broke, right? But it shows the importance of parents and other caring adults, the importance of them keeping an eye on what's happening with their children, because you may think it's not my child. My child's too smart for this. My child will never do that. Some people want to blame the child. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So the reality is that kids make mistakes and they can find themselves trapped. And if they aren't able to reach out, then suicide takes place. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say that no more on YouTube. So unaliving oneself. There we go. Is that better, YouTube? So I want to share this with you real quick. That was shared on the Facebook group. And I hope you'll pay attention and share this because it's very, very powerful. It's a little long, but it's definitely worth sharing. So let's check this out.
Tonight, our 13 Investigates team is diving into an online crime that targets your kids. The trap convinces a child to send a nude picture and then blackmail them for money. Our 13 Investigates reporter Sierra Putman joins us in studio tonight. And Sierra, you learned that cases are skyrocketing across the country and here in Indiana.
And criminals, Scott, are now specifically targeting teen boys. While working on this report, I've been surprised by how many people, even in our newsroom, tell me they know of families dealing with this issue right now. This Midwest town is blessed with natural beauty, great views, and calming waters. But we came to learn about a boy.
His hair looks a little red there.
It does.
I always thought for a minute he might have red hair.
Jennifer Buda and John DeMay's firstborn, Jordan. These are baby photos. Jordan would grow into a handsome high school senior, an athlete, college bound. But there are no more pictures after spring 2022.
Jordan had texted me at 3:41 in the morning and said, "Mother, I love you."
It was his last. The 17-year-old died by suicide.
I found him in his bed.
Did you have any idea why this happened?
None. Yeah, it was complete shock. I think I even said, "Why, Jordan?"
Answers came the next day. Jordan's girlfriend reported someone had just sent her a nude picture of him.
I mean, it changed everything.
The first clue, Jordan was a victim of financial sextortion, one of a growing number of boys and young men coerced into sending inappropriate photos, then blackmailed for money.
Jordan lived here in Marquette, Michigan, but we also know of cases where young men died in Ohio, Mississippi, and even California.
Jordan and James Woods were two of the more than a dozen boys the FBI says took their lives in 2022 because of sextortion.
They sent him over 200 messages antagonizing him, tormenting him.
Indiana's Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force receives about 43 sextortion tips each month. Almost all the victims are boys.
Is it a big issue?
It's a major issue, specifically involving kids here in Indiana and involving suspects here in Indiana who are preying on children in the state and outside the state of Indiana.
Nationwide last year, there were at least 3,000 victims. Now, a warning for parents from federal and local law enforcement.
Please take a look at your kids' phones.
Go ahead and have a seat in the middle two sections.
Indiana schools are even talking about it.
Never be too ashamed to talk to a safe adult.
In Mooresville, the sextortion conversation starts in 6th grade.
You know, as a parent and as an administrator, I really feel that it's important for them to know this information.
In Indiana and across the country, reports of this crime are up, but Jordan's story is different. Investigators had evidence.
We were able to get the IP address and basically follow the crumbs.
They led to Nigeria. 3 men face charges. 2 have been extradited to the U.S. According to Sheriff Greg Zybert, it's the first time that's ever happened. This is how the trap is set. Predators first research the victim, then reach out with a hacked or fake girl's account. The Danny.Roberts Instagram account contacted Jordan.
At one point, she asked him to send a picture, and he said, "Is this a scam?" And no, here's a picture of me.
Jordan sent a pic. At 1:23 a.m., he got this message. I have screenshot all your followers and tags. Can send this nudes to everyone. Cooperate with me and I won't expose you. 3 more messages. Then Jordan asks, how much? $1,000.
They set a timer, so he had to do things within a certain period of time, or else, as an adult, that's a lot. As a kid in the middle of the night, alone in the dark, that is so scary to me.
Jordan could only give $300. The account operators kept pushing. Desperate, the teen messaged, I'm killing myself right now because of you. 4 response messages. Good. Do that fast or I'll make you do it. I swear to God. It all happened in about 3.5 hours.
In our case, they tried to kill Jordan, so they were pushing that.
The day after Jordan died, court documents say the same account told a 21-year-old, I will make you commit suicide. This one group reportedly had dozens of victims.
Over 100 victims.
Yeah, I think it was 130 something total.
And arrest and charges are unusual. What happened to James is much more typical. His family is still waiting for someone to be held accountable.
What would you do in that situation? You would block him?
Experts say blocking is the right thing to do. That's what Jordan's girlfriend did and why there's now a federal case. Blocking lets you save the evidence police need to track down the criminals. Of course, also tell a trusted adult. And if you're that trusted adult, keep the conversation going. Kids make mistakes, even when you think they know better.
I think it happens so quickly that they don't even see it coming.
Jordan and James's families both want their stories to serve as a warning and reassurance for the next victim. A reminder that even if waves of vile messages come, help is out there. If you take one thing away from this story, it's block, 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 because if the scammers do it first, they can actually delete key evidence.
And you're learning from Jordan's family that they are getting messages from families all over, aren't they?
In different states and in different countries. Right now on our website, we have key resources to help you start this conversation with your kids. And tomorrow morning on Sunrise, we'll dig more into what schools are talking to your kids about and show you a tool that can help if your kid gets caught in this trap.
This is such an important topic for families to discuss.
It
Sierra
really
Putman, thanks.
Gotta believe it. Gotta believe it. Go ahead. Unalive yourself. We don't care. And see, this fits into the pattern. You get a teenager, hypersexualized, break down their morals, get them to do something that they know they probably shouldn't do, get the circumstances set just right. Kids will make a mistake, and that mistake can cost them their lives. And it's crazy because all this was happening, and they said within like a 3.5 hour period. Now, was there any other people that this team was talking to? We don't know. But this shows the importance of, number one, warning your kids, and number two, monitoring them. You got to trust but verify. Kids don't always know how to say no. They can be easily fooled, easily groomed, easily tricked. And parents, it's your responsibility to look out for them when they can't look out for themselves. And it's interesting that they said that the majority are targeting young boys. And like I said, the predator will hack somebody's account of a young girl, for example, and then start sending messages so it looks like it's coming from an actual person, when really it's predators behind the mask. It's sad. And Tracy said those 3 guys had over 100 victims. Imagine that. Man. Joey Morales, welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Unbelievable. That young boy and others like him. One wrong move. But again, parents need to be paying attention. Because when we bring the stories about the teachers and the coaches and the ministers and the foster kids, where it comes out that they've been abused, stuff was going on for a very long time. You know, the case with the teachers, there's been messages going back and forth on social media for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It should never even happen in the first place, but the fact that it could go on that long shows that the parents weren't paying attention. You've got to be nosy. You've got to go through your kids' phones. If they're doing stuff wrong, you better believe there's evidence of it on their phones. And you got to protect them. That's just the bottom line. You can tell your kids that you believe in them, but there are forces out there that are working against them. And you're there to make sure that they're protected from them. That's what it's all about. They don't like it? Too bad. Keep your kids safe. That's your first priority. So that they can have a successful life. Become a hero in this world. And do whatever it is that they were designed to do. But you got to keep your eyes open. Because this stuff is really happening. And like the story we brought you last week. That 13-year-old, 6 months of messaging back and forth on 6 or 7 different apps, social media apps. Communicating with predators, trading pics, videos, locations. It's a wonder that child didn't get kidnapped. Thank God. But how did that go on for all that time? Because not my child. They would never do this. They know better. They don't always know better. Sextortion. It's real. Facebook user, whoever that might be. This is just evil. Adults need to be responsible and pay attention. Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And that's what we're trying to say. Every week we do the show. all week long we post stuff. The reason why we do it is because we're trying to raise awareness and say, parents, you got to wake up. You've got to start paying attention. Your kids are being hypersexualized. They're being demoralized. They're being desensitized. And the predators are attacking them in record numbers now. And it's not an easy thing to do, parents, right? We know you're busy, but here's the thing. If you're posting on Facebook and watching TikTok and posting Instagram videos, that means you have time to get on your kid's phone and do a thorough search and see what's there. Doesn't it? Look for hidden apps. Look for multiple accounts on different social media platforms. You can take a few minutes to do that and make sure that they're safe. There's no reason parents cannot do that. And we're just encouraging you to do that. Be nosy. Be nosy. Tracy says, I was heartbroken because we've shared videos and you did a live on sextortion, and here we are again. So frustrating. I also thought the part about blocking was no info for me. Yeah. Well, the two things are, one, making sure you're giving your kids the love and the attention that they deserve and that they need, the communication that they need, right? That's first and foremost. Try to reinforce any values and morals that you raise them with. Of course, it's important. But the second thing is to keep them protected from the things that they don't know about. And it all starts there. All right. Who's behind door number one? Door number one, peddling filth to your children. This might not be as a shock to some of you, but honestly, it never even entered my mind. It never entered my mind. And I want to show you this right now. Look who's behind door number one. Recognize that name? Scholastic, right? Reputable, over 100 years in the textbook business, providing schools across the country with material for their libraries and their classrooms. Scholastic. How about the fact that Scholastic is the ones that are putting the filth, putting the porn, putting the smut, putting all of this stuff into the libraries for your kids to get their hands on? Imagine that. Scholastic. Right? We're going to look at an interview now. This is Kirk Cameron. He was talking with Glenn Beck. This is from the Glenn Beck program. And again, we are not taking any political sides. We're reporting stuff as we see it, right? If Glenn Beck, who's a conservative Republican, whatever, if he brings up a great interview that exposes predators and grooming, we're going to talk about it. If someone on the left side, Democrat, exposes grooming and predators, we're going to talk about it, right? So we're not taking any sides here. This interview is very eye-opening to exactly how much the enemy has gotten into Scholastic books and how there is really there's no wall put up there. If Scholastic says this book is going to your school, guess what? It's going to the school. And I ask you, the parents have been going to the school boards and they're yelling at the school board members. And they're giving the school board members examples of what is in the books that the kids can get their hands on, right? And okay, maybe there's definitely anger toward the school board. But in this interview, we're going to see that there's a great point made. The school board members don't read every book, right? They can look at a cover, looks innocent enough. They don't read every book that's getting put into the libraries. They don't read every book that's going into the classrooms. They just don't. So we wonder how much the school board members actually know about what's getting put in to the libraries. And we're talking elementary, middle school, and high school. But Scholastic Books is peddling the filth, peddling the porn directly to the young people's minds, putting it in their hands, which when you think about it, desensitize, demoralize, hypersexualize, and the kids are being attacked by predator teachers in more numbers now than they ever have before. Wonder how that could be. Heidi says they're coming for the kids in so many different directions. I've learned so much from PYC. Thank you for that. I asked my GS if he'd ever been approached online, grandson. He replied, yes, he blocked them. Thank goodness. What? Scholastic? Oh, I believe it. These freaks are everywhere. Yeah. It was just like when the news came out about the Catholic Church, right? Everyone was like, what? The Catholic Church? I mean, they're like a staple, right? I mean, who wouldn't trust the Catholic Church? Who wouldn't trust the Boy Scouts of America? Once a Christian-based, high moral, become a gentleman, respectful, honor your country institution turned into a haven for predators. Catholic Church turned into a haven for predators. The school system, haven for predators. They're everywhere now. They're everywhere. It's unbelievable. Let's check out this interview. We'll stop and start throughout it so I can provide some commentary. And it's going to blow your mind. So listen carefully.
We welcome back to the program a good friend, actor and producer, and dare I say it, activist, Kirk Cameron.
Ooh,
I know that's a bad word, isn't it?
But I've been given worse words. I got a few labels nowadays.
But you really kind of have. I mean, I think we all have. If you care about what's going on in the country, you can't sit around anymore.
No, I think those days are over. At least I hope that they're over. Because there are others on the other side who are not sitting around. They are reformers. They're not sitting on the couch watching CNN or Fox sort of crying about a Republican, conservative, Christian win here or there. They're saying, we've got a ground game and we're relentless. We're not going to stop. And I think we could learn a lot of lessons from them.
Yeah. Scholastic, they have had their book fairs for years, and we've
over 100 years.
Yeah, and we've all grown to trust that brand as Disney, and they've kind of gone the way of Disney, haven't they?
That's right. That's right. They're now controllers in part of the woke matrix. And they're so massively influential. Have you ever wondered when you watch these videos of moms at school boards screaming and yelling about this sexually explicit content, this nudity, this pornography coming down to elementary school kids? Where does this stuff come from? Is it the board members? Is it the librarian who's into this weird stuff? No, there's a wolf in grandma's clothing, to use the Little Red Riding Hood metaphor. And that wolf, we have discovered, is the world's largest publisher and distributor of children's books, which is Scholastic. They're $1 billion company, around for over 100 years. They have over 100,000 book fairs across the country, hundreds every single day in public and private schools. And the books are increasingly laced with gender-confusing, race-infused, pornographic, sexually explicit material that you can't even advertise on Facebook. The conservative Christian conglomerate Meta is even saying you can't show that stuff. And those are adult standards. That's not even pointing out the fact that these are images and content for minors.
How is this even, honestly, how is this even legal or possible? What was the state that just passed the law that if you can't say it on FCC regulated airwaves, you can't use it in schools?
That's right.
And I don't understand it when these school boards will sit there and say, as parents will angrily read a book that their kids brought home, and they'll say, that's not appropriate. What do you mean it's not appropriate? We're all adults.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to stop for a second to make a great point. You see, and predators will do that, right? Predators will put the face on of doing something good. Now, this doesn't mean everyone who does something good is actually bad, but there's something parents have to look out for, right? And, we see our politicians doing this too. On one side, they're like, hey, look at all the good we're doing, right? But behind the scenes, they're doing this evil thing, right? And Kirk Cameron makes a great point. On Facebook, you can't talk about or post stuff that has to do with child, ORN, you know what I'm saying? They'll say it's inappropriate. You'll get banned. It's illegal for an adult to give access to a minor of that kind of material. It's against the law. So on one side of it, it's like all these big companies are going, yes, that's wrong. You can't do that, right? But behind the scenes where no one's paying attention, Scholastic is like, let's put more. Let's put more into the hands of the kids. So my question is, how is Scholastic not being held accountable? How's the schools not being accountable? Well, you say the schools don't read every book that goes in either. They just trust Scholastic. They're a reputable company, right? Billion-dollar company, been around for 100 years. So they just assume that they're got the kids' best interest in mind, but they don't. They don't.
Exactly. And Glenn and Stu, I want you to know that I'm not using hyperbole here. I didn't believe this until I bought the books and I read them myself. I'm holding them up here, and we've got Welcome to St. Hell, we've got Stars in Their Eyes, Rick, Melissa, George, all sorts of books. And in there is literally instruction manuals for preteen children on how to have sex as another gender, and how to turn your female tiny sex organ into your very own 2-inch willy by injecting yourself with hormones.
Oh my God.
You've got underage drinking, clothes off, in bed. You've got scars from top surgery, breast removal, pictures, drawings, cartoons. All of
Made
this
for what age?
These are for 8 to 12.
Oh my God.
And then it goes younger when it really gets into books like Julian is a Mermaid, where you have a grandmother who is what can only be described by me as grooming her grandson to explore the world of drag. These are
being sent to the schools, right? These are the actual books that are in the school system, elementary, from 8 years old all the way through middle school. This is the kind of stuff Scholastic is sending to the schools to put into the libraries for your kids to get their hands on, to further hypersexualize them, to break down the morals that you raise them with, to desensitize them more, and set them up for predators to attack them. This is all in the public schools.
For little kids. These are like kindergarten, first grade stuff.
Oh my God.
And so you're now talking about studies from the United States government that reveal that you expose children to sexual material early, you increase their odds of being victimized, of going down aberrant trails.
We all know this. We've known this forever.
You know all of this stuff. And the fact that there are federal laws prohibiting the distribution of pornographic and obscene materials for minors because it's harmful to them doesn't go away when you put it into books like this
cartoon.
and say that they're educational. It doesn't make them less obscene and any less.
See, that's the back door. That's the Trojan horse, if you will. Right? There are federal laws that say it's illegal to give kids access to material like this. If a random adult did that, they'd be charged with a crime, endangering the welfare of a child, corrupting the morals of a child. Okay? Unbelievable, right? But apparently, if you just say, hey, it's just educational, no problem, right? In fact, how many predators that have gotten caught with child pornography on their computers have tried to give the excuse, oh, it was research. It was just educational. Yeah, that's all. It wasn't really because I'm a sick, whacked out pervert. No. And they try to get away with it. Doesn't work for them, but yet Scholastic can send these types of books with all this graphic sexuality and all this into elementary school libraries and classrooms, and somehow that's okay. Not against the law for them, because it's educational, right? It's educational to teach your kids to go against what your parents tell them. It's educational to hypersexualize them, to demoralize them, to put smut in front of them. That's educational, right? It's educational.
Harmful. And so we've got to wake up and not just, frankly, yell at the school board because they're heavily invested. They haven't read every book in their library, and the books are laced. It's like you get Halloween candy that's laced with fentanyl. You don't necessarily know that it's there, but Scholastic is lacing their books with obscene material in the middle of the pages with benign looking covers, so they don't even know it's there. So what we need to do is say, now that we know, now that we're exposing it, let's stop yelling at the school board, turn around in the board meeting, look at the parents and say, hey, mom and dad, what are you doing? Why are you dropping your kids off here 7 hours a day to be indoctrinated by these people? Don't you understand that the whole point of this is to separate you from your children? You sexualize children, you drive a wedge between you and them, and they will go down roads because of their natural curiosity and their impressionable minds with teachers who are pushing this stuff.
Yes.
And Scholastic former CEO is saying we are committed to putting more and more of this material in more and more channels as we possibly can. In fact, they apologized to the leftist organizations when they pulled back a little bit in some of these book fairs and put these LGBTQ obscene other type pornographic material. They put it off to the side and said this is an optional package you could order. No. They want it mainstream, front and center, and so they apologized and doubled down on their efforts. This is Scholastic, the 1,000-pound gorilla in the space.
So what are you doing? Because you have been great in libraries. You are on this and becoming.
Wait, are they allowing you in libraries now? I thought you were getting kicked out of libraries. I thought that was your thing.
Well,
I didn't know they let you inside.
They're so inclusive, they don't let me in the front door.
Right, yeah. But you can get in.
But you can get in because this is America. Yes, and this is America. And there are many, many libraries who actually want us to come. So we have two things that I'm doing to sort of as a proposed solution to this horrible wolf in grandma's clothing. One, we've created a PDF so that parents can download the PDF and see everything that I'm talking about. Page, book number, author biographies, all of this stuff. You can show it to your fellow parents in the school, show it to your principal, show it to your librarians and school board members. Make them aware of what's going on. And then don't just stick it to them to figure it out. We have actually created a nonprofit. It was started by a concerned mother called Skytree Book Fairs. You can replace these harmful Scholastic book fairs with helpful, wholesome book fairs with 500 books that have all been vetted and screened to take out all of the nasty pornography and the critical race theory and the race stuff. And they're about wholesome, good values. And we already have over 700 public and private schools that have already begun the process of replacing Scholastic with Skytree book fairs. And
wow, over 700, right? So there's some good work being done here. And you're going to hear, this is from the Glenn Beck program, by the way. All credits due there to Glenn Beck program on YouTube. And, you know, Glenn's going to make a great point where he's going to say, wait a minute, the school has a choice? Like, it's government funded. Don't they have to take the books from Scholastic? And the truth is, no, they don't. They don't have to take the books that are being sent. They don't have to go with Scholastic. They can go with a whole different provider. Who knew they could do that? Right? Because a lot of people just think, I got no choice. I got to go with this. This is what we got. No. And having this knowledge means that the individual school districts now need to be held accountable. Because with this information coming out about Scholastic, now you can go to the school board meetings and say, hey, you know what kind of books are being peddled in the schools to the kids. What are you going to do about it? And you know we have a teacher-predator problem. Maybe those two things are connected. What are you going to do about it? You can do anything about it, school board? Or are you going to just look the other way, act like nothing's going on?
First one is coming up next month in Spotsylvania, Virginia.
First one.
Public school superintendent of the district is so excited about this. They have gotten rid of Scholastic. They're putting in Skytree book fairs. Public school.
How are they getting away with that?
Oh, because they can. They can choose what book fairs they want or don't want. The reason that so many public schools and private schools go with Scholastic is they're trusted, right? It's you think it's grandma.
Disney.
You don't know that grandma was eaten up by the wolf.
Yeah.
And now he's dressed in this trusted clothing called Scholastic. The schools actually get money from the books that are sold at the book fairs, right? There's a percentage that goes back to the school. So that's part of their budget.
Does that happen with the Skytree books?
That's a good question. I believe it does. I believe that they get funds that come back to them to invest in more books like this and more programs that reinforce these values.
So how do you, first of all, how do you get the
PDF?
The PDF.
You just go to skytreebookfairs.org. It's a nonprofit, skytreebookfairs.org. Download the PDF. It's really easy. You can text it to people, email it to people. And also there are instructions there on how to begin the process of bringing Skytree Book Fairs to your school.
It's fantastic.
Well, it's an option. And this is what's exciting about living at this time. Glenn, you just said you're born for a reason, on purpose, for a purpose, at a specific time, for these problems. I think that's why we're sitting here right now.
It is.
Isn't it mind-blowing to think, Stu, that before the stars began to shine in the universe, God knew that you and Glenn and I would be sitting here talking about just such an absurd reality that we live in, and then having ideas to do something about it. And we can do it together and make a difference.
Is what's really
And I want to say that goes for all of us. You know, as a God-fearing organization, we are out there fighting evil, and we all have a purpose, right? If we're here at this time to witness what's happening to our children, what's happening around the world and in the classrooms and everywhere they're going, that means that we have a responsibility to stand up and say something. We have a responsibility to raise awareness about it, to educate people about it, right? To protect our children. Because they're not paying attention. You know, the kids aren't paying attention. They're just, you know, most of them, not your kids, of course, listeners. Yeah, right. But I mean, we have responsibility. We are put here for this time, for this purpose, right? And we got to stand against evil, or else it's going to just take over. And if more people are not speaking up and doing videos and making posts and talking to people at work and talking to people at church, saying, hey, are you aware of this? Sure, it's not the fluffy conversation that we like to have, right? But what good is it to talk about the sports team that won or lost, which no one will remember the following week or the following year, when you could be talking about how the predators are attacking our children and how to keep them safe, which impacts them for a lifetime? What's more important? We got to ask ourselves that question.
Amazing to me is he has that for everybody. And how many people have been convinced by evil that they don't have a purpose? There isn't anything they can do, that they shouldn't pay attention, or they will get in trouble if they, you know, stand up for things. All of these lies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because our schools, again, real education, I think, has been eaten by the ravenous wolf and replaced with something else. So when you take God out of the picture, you don't have what you're saying. You don't have meaning and identity and purpose, other than this is how bacteria reacts at these temperatures. After billions of years, cancer cells, why discriminate? Cancer cells from other cells. They're just trying to survive as well. No. There is good, there is bad, and there is purpose. And
as you're going around America and you're doing these things, what are you feeling?
I'm feeling.
I'm going to pause it right there for a second. I want to make a good point. If you teach kids, or the schools are teaching the kids, that they're basically an accident, that they just got here by some random chance, right? That there's no real purpose that they're created for. Okay? If kids get into abusive situations, like the 13-year-old from last week, we've been counseling with him, and you get to the point where they don't really feel like that they're worth more, right, than sex. They don't feel like that they're worth more, that they're more important than basically trying to make somebody feel good off of them, right? That to use them. But when you teach kids that they're not important and that, you know, they're here by accident, that they weren't created for a purpose, right? Or if kids are at home feeling like they don't have meaning, or they're not loved, then it's a surprise that they might go out and go online and start looking for predators, looking for people that give them attention, even if it's the wrong type of attention. I'm not trying to be preachy here, because we walk the line here, right? We want to help all kids be safe. But it's a great point. You raise a child knowing that they have a purpose, they have a plan, that they're not alone, that there's hope, something beyond themselves, and that they're worth more than somebody just trying to use them and use their body for some cheap feel good. You teach them that when they're young. And then when someone approaches them and says, hey, I want you to do this, they'll say, no, I'm more important than that. It's not what I'm about. Right? We have to do that.
That we are living in really exciting times. Revival, great awakenings, people snapping out of their stupors have always happened in this country and around the world during times of moral collapse, spiritual apathy, economic decline, and political corruption.
Yeah.
There we go.
And warfare.
I think we're due for one.
No, I think we are too.
They tend to happen about every 50 years.
Yeah. I think this
this is what I'm sensing.
This Israel thing has also awakened a lot. Not just the bloodthirst on October 7th, but also the bloodthirst that's in our own streets. I think people are going, wait a minute. What? You're for what now? I think there's a lot of people that were just kind of coasting along and just, living on the, the fringes and just kind of like, I'm not going to take a stand, that are seeing things now and going, wait a minute. This is not what's happening here.
Yeah, I agree. When you have a beer and have that buzz that sort of dulls your senses a little bit and everything just kind of seems like it's floating along. I feel like because of our prosperity, because of our comfort and the ease with which we can go through days and just pick up a latte and Uber to the cafe, right. We've sort of been in this dull-minded buzz, not recognizing the essential truths that if you are not pursuing truth and beauty and goodness sacrificially and leaning into that stuff with everything, including math, history, science, English, and economics and agriculture, you're screwed long term and your children will pay for it. That's what we're waking up to now. People are sobering up.
Okay, I want you to go to skytreebookfairs.org, skytreebookfairs.org. Get the PDF he's talking about, send it and share it with everybody, and then go to your school and see if you can get the Skytree Book Fairs to come and do a book fair at your kid's school. It is important that we see these trusted brands that have long ago gone off the beaten path and gone their own way and are actually poisonous to our society and our kids. We have to see these brands for what they are. And time is really running out. It's not too late, but it is gravely urgent that you do this now. Skytreebookfairs.org.
Wow. Whew. Is that eye-opening or what? Scholastic Books. Peddling filth straight to the hands of your children. Bypassing the school boards, bypassing the teachers, bypassing the librarians. Okay? And just to clarify, we're not talking about, something that is uplifting and confidence building to children. No, we're talking about something that's demoralizing the kids, desensitizing them, and hypersexualizing them in record numbers. Like her camera was saying, Scholastic's got hundreds of book fairs that are going on all the time. That means that these books are not only in the schools, they're going to the community centers. They're going to the mobile book, the bookmobile. Remember that? And parents, you got to keep an eye on what your kids are looking at and what they're reading. That's the other part of it. Watch their phones, watch what they're doing online, watch the books they're reading, check their book bag. There's an idea. See what books are in there. Because you might just find something that's going to make you horrified and then speak up about it. Because now, the Wholesome Scholastic Books, the largest producer of children's books, turns out to be the one behind promoting the filth and peddling the smut to the children in schools all across America. and we have a predator-teacher problem. Imagine that. We got to stand up. Skytree Book Fairs. Let's check it out real quick before we end here. There we go. Skytree Book Fairs. Right there is the website. Host a fair, become a donor. So yeah, you can definitely check out that website, skytreebookfairs.org. Learn about our warning signs on Scholastic. Now look at this. There's an example of just something that was in the book. Quote, she immersed her body in the warm water and tried not to think about what was between her legs. But there it was, bobbing in front of her. Look at this. It tells you about, this is the page and the book, and it's for grades 3 to 7. 3rd grade to 7th. It's got such things in it as gender confusion, self-harm, medical gender transitions. They're teaching your children without you knowing. They're changing your kids. They're demoralizing your children so that they can be abused. That's the goal. That's what's happening. And it's time to say something about it. Call out Scholastic online, on social media, at work, at church. Say, hey, did you know that Scholastic is actually sending all these books of filth into the school libraries for your kids to get their hands on? No, I didn't know that. Yeah, they're doing it. Look up the research. Yeah, and Marie made a great point. You don't have to be a parent to go to school boards. Absolutely great point. That's exactly correct. Absolutely correct. Tracy says, can you put the link for this in the description, please? Yes, I will certainly do that. So it is scholasticbookfairs.org is the website. I'm going to see if I can post it in the chat real quick. I don't know if it'll work, but let's see. Let's find out. Well, it might anyway, but there it is. But I'll definitely put it in the description. So, all right, that's it for the show for this week. Thank you guys and for being here. And please, like we always say, share this. Like we get about 5 or 6 shares on the podcast out of 5,000 on Facebook, out of 750 on Twitter, out of 350 on YouTube. We're getting like 5, 6, or 7 shares. That's it. So please take an extra minute, share this on your social media. Tell people about it. They need to know what's happening. If they care about their kids, they're going to want to watch this live show. Tell people about it, please. Share it, like it, retweet it. And it also helps the algorithms too. It really does. The more people that interact, the algorithm pushes it out further to people and gets more exposure. So please do your part and help us protect these kids. And visit protectyourchildren.org, protectyourchildren.org. If you'd like to make a donation, you can do that on the website too. That helps us to fund not only the live shows, but the events that we do and a whole host of other things that keep the organization running. So if you can make a tax-deductible donation, please consider doing that. Protectyourchildren.org. We thank you in advance for that. Until next week, you guys stay safe and keep protecting the kids. And for the love of God,